All right, Noah, just got off the course. I'm in my golf cart garage doing this, but you have a really, really good action, right? Especially not for playing a bunch of tournaments and just getting your game ready. So it's just those couple things, keeping the height, and then we're gonna work on some right knee stuff, and I'll give you some right elbow ideas. So just to like demonstrate everything I was talking about, right? I like the way your club works in your takeaway. The club head covers your hands. Really, really good. The only thing that we're seeing is a little bit of that dip, and then from the face on, a little bit of dip, and then lowering to the right. So it's good that you're getting weight into this right side. That's what we want. But the feel for you is likely going to be almost that you're staying centered and then probably getting taller. And as I do this, that shouldn't be confused, right, with not getting any weight into my right side. I am still shifting weight from my left to my right. I'm just not swaying my body over there. So again, the feel is going to be for you to stay tall and stay more centered, almost like this right hip and this upper body's extending. I was watching a biomechanics video and they kind of talked about like if you take your chin or like the base of your neck to your belly button, you want that distance between these two to stay the same the whole time as you rotate. Yours is likely getting closer to one another because you're kind of crouching down into that right side. So again, it's just going to feel like more height through there. Not necessarily drills for it, but just making some takeaways and some turns where you're rehearsing, feeling like you're getting taller and staying more centered, not moving so far to the right. So other than that, when we get into that downswing, it's a good top position. Maybe just try to shorten it up a touch, but again, I really like the way it looks there. The only thing that I'm seeing on the downswing then is this right knee's kicking forward a bunch. So then again, right, I talked about how this space you want to keep through here so that the club can swing through freely, but if my right knee's going to kick in, my heel's going to come off the ground, and my hip's going to touch, now that's in the way for my arms to pass, and that's what we see from the face on as well, like we saw with Adam Scott, right? If I kind of roll up this sleeve, his forearm and his bicep are kind of pointing up or even towards the camera a little bit and getting down in front of him, but yours gets caught a little bit behind you because you don't have that space now that your right leg's kicked out. So it looks a little bit like this, and then all you really have from there is you kind of have to flip. There's no way to get these arms down in front with this thing kicking out so much. So two things that I have for that. When you're hitting shots, hopefully I don't knock my phone over, hitting shots, get like a wedge, right, and plop that right under you. You can kind of, well, ideally do it on this side, right? So then you're just going to hit shots. Make sure I have enough room to make some swings here, where that doesn't fall until the ball's gone, right? So right now, if you did this drill, swinging it the same way, it would fall out likely before you hit the ball because that knee's kicking in. But if you can hit some shots, honestly, feeling this and almost never letting it go, that's going to be the feel, just to exaggerate it. But again, right, I don't want you keeping that right foot on the ground the whole way through the swing. It has to release at some point, but we want the club to come in, kind of pushing off that instep, getting to this point of impact, and then once you hit the ball, then that's when you let that foot release and get up onto the toe. Another idea for that I really like, one of my favorites, let me grab a ball really quick. This is going to be a little bit hard to demonstrate in here, but you plop one on the ground. I notice you work on mats, so this is a little bit tougher. But if the mat has some give in it, you'll be good. So ideally you see this here, right? The ball, obviously ball's out in here, wherever it is. You plop another one there. If you're on grass, you can kind of stomp it into the ground a little bit. Even in the mat, it should have some give, but now you'll see it creates a little bit of a tilt for my foot. I'll give you the face on too. See how my foot's tilted this way? That's going to be a really good feel for you to push off the instep of that foot instead of getting out onto the toe. So when you create that angle, you have the pressure and your weight is going to be on the inside of your right foot, and then you want to keep it there and almost feel like it's rolling this way and you're pushing off of that instead of just letting it kind of fly out. And again, I think that'll give you some more distance as well and more power and efficiency at least, because you're pushing off that right side instead of just kind of letting it go through the ball, right? So that's a really, really good one. And then just some right arm stuff, right? So I mentioned external rotation. So if you haven't heard that term before, essentially when you get your elbow going this way, back, pointing that bicep upward, and kind of it looking like this through the ball like Adam Scott's, that's external rotation. When the elbow goes this way and kind of gets going here, that's internal. So that's what's kind of happening with you, not at the top of your swing, but as this right knee kicks out, then this right arm kind of gets jammed behind it and turns over from here, looks a little bit like this, and then that way, and it's rotating over your left instead of staying up, pointing towards the camera and staying in front of you. And just obviously you can see, right, when I do that with the external rotation, this club face stays really, really stable through the ball. I keep it pointed. But if I have kind of what you have going on, there's some release with that forearm, and that makes the club face close a little bit faster. So that's going to be a really good idea. Try to keep some external rotation in that. My favorite drill is just taking your left hand, locking it in on the outside of this right elbow, and then just hitting some pitch shots like this. And you'll see, I'm not really like, you don't have to pull with this hand much. This will just help you keep it tucked in front. And you'll see naturally, that'll help you get that right arm and elbow more externally rotated and down and in front of you through the shot, down and in front of you through the shot. And it's almost impossible to kind of have this move as you're doing this drill. So just hitting some pitches like that. But that's all I got for you. Definitely take it in parts, right? You can't work on the right foot and the hips and keeping your height, right, and the right elbow all at once. You got to take it in parts. So I'd tell you, like, making some rehearsals, right, where you feel height in your takeaway, height in your backswing, get that going, and then once you feel like you have that down, throw that club on your heel, do some of that, put the ball on the ground to work on that right instep work, and then get into the right elbow movement. Again, like I mentioned, I think once we can keep this right leg working a little bit more properly, that'll give you room naturally for that right elbow to kind of do what I was talking about and work down more in front of you, right? When this kicks out, you don't have room for that to happen. So that could happen naturally once we get the right leg working. But still, this drill is going to be great for you either way. But yeah, if you have any other questions, 100% let me know. And then the only other advice, you already kind of mentioned it, right, on playing in tournaments, realizing that you got to play in them to get better. That's 100% the way to do it. If you ask yourself, what do you think is going to be the best path for you to get noticed by college coaches and get better at the game? It's go play in tournaments and then reflect on it afterwards. Go shoot. If you go shoot 65, look at the round and be like, okay, what did I do well? Still, what could I have done better? Like, why did this go so great? Versus if you go shoot 85, 90, don't just take it as, I suck, this stinks, I'm never going to, whatever. You go into kind of downward spiral, look at it and say, okay, what parts of my game do I need to improve on? What maybe did this other player who shot a really good score and is on a really good path to play college golf, what is he doing that I'm not? But at the same time, you're on your own path. Compare yourself to yourself and just try to keep getting better every single day. I think that's really the biggest part of the process, and that's what helped me the most when I was growing up in junior golf, was just every day trying to get 1% better. So I hope that all helps. If you have any other questions, 100% let me know, and I look forward to working with you in the future. I love, personally, the subscription if you want to keep working together, because it's more of a process. We can work and build your game, continue to work on your swing stuff, do some stats, talk about mental game and course management and different scores and everything. But if that's not in the cards, completely understand, and look forward to keep on following you and keeping in touch. Appreciate it.